Has your marriage stalled and you seem to be tolerating each other instead of enjoying each other? Maybe you're unhappy and even considering separation.
How would you like to have life and love flow back into your marriage? Today we're going to give you 7 ways to bring life into your marriage and strengthen your marriage and avoid going the other way. Thank you for joining us. This is I Have a Voice. I'm Dean Sunseri. This is my beautiful wife, HollyKem Sunseri. We're talking about 7 ways to strengthen your marriage and to avoid divorce. Let's get right into it. The first way to strengthen your marriage is to create a date night. Why is that important?
Well, whatever you put on your calendar is what's important to you. A lot of people say, well, I got to put my wife on the calendar because she's important to you. And why do you have to put your husband on the calendar? Because he's important to you. Very important.
So this is our suggestion.
Yes.
Is to have date night once a week. Say it's a Wednesday evening. And to rotate organizing it.
That's right. That means, say it's my turn, I pick where we're going. I pick the time. I find somebody to watch the kids and take care of the dog and any responsibilities for that night. And then the next week, you do the whole thing. Take care of the kids, the responsibilities, where we going, and get all that straight. And look, this could be a picnic in the park. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be at Commander's in New Orleans, where the fanciest restaurant, but it could be.
Could be the Pelicans.
It could be the Pelicans game. It could be a lot of things. Maybe you go take a walk on the lakefront if you're in New Orleans or in your town.
Yeah, so you need to know, especially when you have kids and you grow into more and more responsibilities at work, time together doesn't just happen.
Oh.
You have to make it happen, and you need to put it on the calendar.
Yes.
Let's go into the second way to strengthen your marriage. You have to get on the same page financially.
Right. And that doesn't mean that you have to value the same thing. It means that you have to be on the same page about what each other person values, what's the plans, what's the budget, and prioritize how we're going to do that.
In fact, you're not going to value the same things.
No, you're not.
So you need to be able to keep an open conversation about what's important to you, what's important to me, and also be aware of, the financial picture. One of the top stresses in any marriage is finances.
Right. Money and sex.
Money and sex.
Yep.
And so sometimes we're thinking my spouse is spending too much money, or I'm spending too much money in this area, may not even be aware of it. And how do you know unless you what? Bring it to the table.
That's right.
And communicate it.
Well, and we'll have to do a whole show on this, but usually men have big ticket items they like. Boats, cars, big things. Women like more littler things. But in this, when we talk about value, we're talking about like Dean's value. You like to travel. And I like to have our home a certain way. So both of those take a lot of money. So in that, we have to discuss where we're going to put our focus on. Like maybe this year we will go to Europe, and then maybe the next year we have to skip a year. The next year we'll do the project in the house.
Yeah.
So you just have to negotiate that.
And you got to realize, if I got a bonus at work, then money comes in, and I'm thinking trip, and HollyKem's thinking a new piece of furniture.
That's
or
right.
Whatever. So it has to be talked about.
Yes.
And you also have to be aware that rules at the beginning of the relationship are different than the ones when they evolve. I remember we had a rule, we would not spend over $100 without checking with the other person first. That rule's not in effect today as it was 30 years ago, because finances have evolved. We make more money, allocation is different, and it continues to evolve. So it's so important to keep the channels open continuously around finances.
Yes.
Let's go into the third way to strengthen your marriage is to what?
Have lots of sex.
Yeah?
Yes, this is very important in a relationship because one of the things that goes by the wayside is sex. We're tired, we got a lot going on, a lot of work, kids, Sometimes something has to give. Maybe you're not going to do the 6 load of clothes that day and you're going to go to bed early. But this has got to be in the pocket. This is very important.
It has to be part of the rhythm of life.
That's a good way to put it.
And you have to be intentional about saving something for your spouse in the evening. If you have 100% energy, you need to save at least 10, 15% for your spouse. You can't spend it all. And when sex goes to the wayside, I mean, that's one of the greatest pleasures you can have in life.
Right.
And it's pleasurable, it's fun, it creates bonding, it creates spiritual connection. You know, Christianity, I believe that the two become one. And so there's literally an exchange, connection. And if you have a sexless marriage, it's devastating because it's one of the greatest pleasures in life is eliminated from your life.
Right.
And so it sets up all kinds of potential problems when that's not there.
You can even wake up early.
Yeah.
Like if you have kids, 30 minutes early.
Yeah, so you just have to figure it out, but you have to make it a priority.
It must be a priority.
How much? Well, the more the better, we would say.
Yes.
As a general rule, we'd say once, twice a week is really important to be able to make connection and keep the life of the relationship on that level going.
Yeah, and women, do not allow your men to make every move. That's unfair. You got to take the reins.
Oh, look, you can go tell your husband to watch this video. He'll come just for that one line. Let's get into the fourth way to strengthen your marriage. You have to check in every day. And what I mean by a daily check-in is you set a time in the evening, say 8 o'clock after you put the kids to bed, and you sit down and you have a check-in and you share 3 experiences you had that day and how you felt about it.
Right. You could be folding clothes together while you're doing this. You could be washing dishes, but it's about communication.
It's about communication.
Right.
You want to think about 3 of the most impactful experiences of the day. And what's important is to talk about how you felt about it. It's one thing to say, I got the job. It's another thing to say, I got the job and I was so excited.
Right.
It's a whole nother level. I heard that this happened to my cousin today. Right. That's one thing. I heard that this happened to my cousin and I'm really feeling devastated.
Right.
That's a whole nother level. So it's important to not only communicate the experience, but also how you felt, 3 of those, and then your partner does the same.
Yeah, and in this, to prove that you are active listening, okay, let's say 3 days ago, your husband said that a person at his work, something happened to them. Something happened to Elizabeth's husband, okay? You check in and say, hey, did you hear anything else about Elizabeth's husband? I've been praying for Elizabeth and her family. That way, your spouse knows that you are active listening. So yes, he's going to want to, or she's going to want to give more information about their life and what matters to them. And then you have something that you're bringing to the table that matters to you, that they care about as well. So when the big things happen in life, which we all know, big things are going to happen to us. We're going to have lots of losses through our life. Your spouse is emotionally available for you, and you're emotionally available for them, and you're interested.
Yeah, that's good. And Jordan Peterson, the famous Canadian psychologist, he said a couple needs to have 90 minutes of quality conversation a week.
Right, that's a whole week. That's not 90 minutes in a day.
Right.
Who's got 90 minutes in a day? I mean, people pay us to sit with us 90 minutes a day. So we don't have time for each other for 90 minutes a day, hardly, do we, honey?
That's true.
We have to schedule everything. So, we're no different than the rest of you guys. And we've been married 31 years.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that is when you communicate regularly, it keeps your stories and your narratives together. When you stop communicating, you start to
have
spread
different separate
apart.
lives.
And separate lives, the results are unpredictable.
That's right. And it doesn't mean that you mean to do this. This is not something that people do on purpose. We just get busy.
Yeah, of course. Marriages work.
Yes, marriages work.
The 5th way to strengthen your marriage and to avoid divorce is that you need to encourage time with friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have great friends.
You do have great friends.
I've been having the same friends since I was 16, 17 years old.
Look, you send my wife down the bayou to go see Patty or Rebecca or Gabrielle, spend the day there. She comes back full of life. She comes back vibrant. She comes back excited. It's like friends can give to you things that perhaps your spouse can't. And when your cup gets filled with that, you bring so much more back to the table. So it's really important to strengthen and to even encourage your spouse to spend time with other people that love him or her.
And I mean, a lot of men get to do this when they're working. They get to hang out and go do lunch, which is really nice. And they talk and talk sports and all that good stuff. So don't be jealous if your husband goes to lunch with a friend and, comes back excited. That's a great thing. I mean, you want him to have that. That's less needs you have to meet for each other when you're already trying to meet them all for each other.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
If this video has been helpful for you, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. We have plenty more videos on how to strengthen your marriage.
And share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends. Yeah, think about a couple that really needs some strength and life in their marriage and share that with them so that we can help them also. The sixth way to strengthen your marriage is become a great listener. You're a good listener. Now, I probably would say you're a great listener.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's been something that I wanted to do.
Almost all the time. Some of the time.
Sometimes I'm not
You have
good.
your moments.
I have my moments, sorry. It's been something that I really want to do, but where I learned this was being a counselor, a therapist, a life coach, is that I used to be lonely most of my life. So one day I just wasn't lonely, and I'm like, man, I was talking to God, I just don't feel lonely. And what the answer was that I became a great listener. So as I listened to others with my full heart, I had no loneliness in my own heart. So when I'm doing that with my spouse and I'm really listening to him and wanting to know who he is and what he's about and what's important to him, I win and he wins.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
And it's really one of the greatest forms of love.
Definitely.
Listening is a great form of love. If you want to love your spouse, become a really good listener. And listening has two dimensions. It's not just sitting, listening, quietly, but it's also really reading what the other person's saying and giving some feedback on that. Oh, I can tell by your eyes that you're really upset. Or it seems your veins are popping out your neck. It seems like you're a bit angry, or
this really hurt your feelings, or this is,
Yeah, so you really want to reflect back or be a mirror to what you're seeing, and then the other person knows that they're being heard. And that's an important part of becoming a great listener. Yeah, communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, and listening is the key. Let's go to the seventh way to strengthen your marriage, and it's to pray together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pray together. Look, one study has shown that couples that pray together on a regular basis outside of church have a dramatically lower rate of divorce. Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting? Is that one simple thing of learning to pray together. Well, you say, well, we believe different or this or that, or I'm not comfortable praying. Well, learn.
Right.
Just grab your spouse's hand. Dear Lord, help me learn to pray. That could be your prayer. But there's something real about inviting God's presence into your relationship, God becoming part of the household and being welcome to intervene in the relationship is very important. There's also the dimension that a healthy dependence on God helps you avoid an unhealthy dependence upon your spouse. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
It's very important. Prayer is what helps you create a healthy dependence upon God. And a healthy dependence upon God helps you avoid having an unhealthy dependency upon your spouse. It's almost like it calibrates the relationship into right order. I can't be expecting things from her that I get from God. And when I do, it sets her up to be a failure and for me to be disappointed. That's it. Yes. She likes that. There's very few times that she's speechless like that. So I must have said it right. So those are 7 ways to strengthen your marriage. And we have a resource in the description. I have a PDF file that is a summary of the 7 ways to strengthen your marriage. I would love to get that to you. So go to the description, click the link, and I will send you that resource, that PDF file, so that you can have that to look at it on a regular basis. We also have some videos that we've done, the 5 common mistakes men make in marriage. And we also have 5 devastating mistakes that women make in marriage. Yeah, if you want to call out your spouse and say, look, you're doing these mistakes, look at those videos. No, look at those videos. You'll see what are the things to avoid that would become life-taking things from your relationship And they're often different for the man than from the woman. So if those videos are interested to you, please click on them now and we will what?
See you in the next video.
God bless.